Welcome to the Ilrasta channel. In this video, I will explain the story of the Donghua series Swallowed Star, Season 2, Episode 76. In the previous episode, we witnessed Luo Feng struggle to prepare for his fight against a space monster at the star level, the Golden Horned Behemoth. Previously, we have seen fighters deliberating and eventually agreeing to carry out the Russians' or Sokolov's plans. And that is the hydrogen bomb plan, which will be carried out in several stages before the hydrogen bomb is detonated toward the Golden Behemoth monster. Meanwhile, Luo Feng is deep in the seabed finishing the ruins of the ancient civilization number 12, which is a very large starship, in order to gain the strength to destroy the monster Golden Behemoth. But before entering there, he first watched a live broadcast of the bombing plan in order to see the final outcome of the grand plan. Would the power of the hydrogen bomb kill the Golden Behemoth and let Luo Feng breathe freely before he entered the ruins of ancient civilization number 12? Or could it be the other way around? Instead of being curious, let's watch the story. At the start of the episode, the bombardment meant to finish off the monster Golden Behemoth went as planned. The bombardment has several stages that are meant to catch the creature off guard first. This time, as commander of the warlords, Lei Shen and leader Hong finally carried out the first step of the well-thought-out plan. In that case, a smart jet carrying tens of thousands of tons of nuclear bombs was sent and exploded right in front of the Golden Behemoth. Then a big explosion happened. The explosion of the nuclear bomb, which weighed tens of thousands of tons, did a lot of damage to the surrounding area. It was an explosion that could also easily destroy warriors at the war god level. But the crazy thing is that the explosion didn't do much damage to the Golden Behemoth monster because its physical resistance is very strong for a star-level monster. What the monster felt was like a gust of wind that this creature just passed. But the plan to bombard is still going on at this point. Then, Leader Hong gave the order to send second-level fighter jets right away to attack the monster. Then, a fighter plane flew quickly toward the monster. The closer the jet got to the Golden Behemoth, the more obvious it was to Inspector Jiai that the huge creature seemed to ignore the jet coming at it and only use one hand to block it. This shows that the Golden Behemoth is starting to be less careful around the jet because the attacks that were made against him were not so dangerous. Once the bomb is within the best range to attack. Boom, again, there was a powerful explosion that swept away the ruins of the buildings that had been destroyed by the first explosion. But, just as the warriors had predicted, the explosion of a nuclear bomb that weighed tens of thousands of tons and was set off close up was like a toy for the very Golden Behemoth monster, which seemed to be in great shape. Now it's even clearer if these creatures really do have very high resistance. But at least the plan to let the guard down on this creature was going as planned. After being hit by an explosion, the golden lines from the monster's tail to its head can be seen beginning to react. This is an important point that was not realized by all the fighters who witnessed the bombing. Which, in fact, would be to the detriment of the combatants in the next situation. And of course, their job is to act as a distraction before carrying out the final plan or attack that has been prepared in the plan. As the jet gets closer to the opponent, its attacks start to go in a number of different, predetermined directions. This caused Golden Behemoth a little trouble. Until finally, each of the jets landed right on the Golden Behemoth monster's skin in a different place and set off huge explosions from different directions. This made the terrible creature drown in a much stronger level of nuclear explosions than before. The tension felt by the fighters who witnessed the bombing was increasingly felt. However, the chain attack in the second phase of the plan is still not finished. Because the next step is the most important. Luo Feng's intelligent jet plane carrying a 30,000-ton nuclear bomb rushed towards the enemy unnoticed. And when the leader pressed the trigger for the bomb's activation, at that moment there was an explosion that immediately devoured an area with everything wider than the previous one.
1号
The series of attacks in the second stage were a huge success. But Luo Feng had to give up the intelligent fighter jet that had been with him on his travels for a long time. But there was something else hanging over Luo Feng during this bombing plot. Luo Feng felt that the golden behemoth monster was getting stronger after being hit by so many explosions. Babada also told Luo Feng that the high-temperature particle stream made by several nuclear bomb explosions could stimulate the golden behemoth monster's body potential, which would help speed up its growth. Just like a person who trains the muscles in his body, where giving enough load will build the muscles that people have. The golden behemoth monster uses the enemy's attacks to make itself stronger by absorbing high-temperature metal particles with golden streaks. After the last two fighter planes carrying bombs blew themselves up close to the enemy. Next, it's time for the ultimate weapon to go into action. The hydrogen bomb is carried by Leader Hong's prehistoric jet. It is said that this hydrogen bomb weighed the same as 150 million tons. This weapon is also said to be able to destroy all of humanity. Sokolov is very confident that the bomb will kill the golden behemoth monster until there is nothing left. Babada couldn't predict what would happen this time because of the 150 million ton ultimate weapon hydrogen bomb and the physical abilities of a star-grade golden behemoth monster. Because she had never heard or seen anyone doing it before.
踏入恒星级的金角巨兽，亮亮的氢弹对付一头钢马。
谁才是玩具？但人类真正意义上毁天灭地的究极武器，真假货出来了。
Lei Shen and Eastbourne's faces were even more tense because the next mission was to detonate the last hydrogen bomb, which was done after Hong gave the signal. After that was launched, there was a lot of tension in the Hall of the War God. Because they all know that this ultimate attack is the last chance for humanity. Which, if you succeed in killing the golden behemoth monster, means that humanity can survive the disaster that happened. But if it fails, humanity will fall into a terrible nightmare that is even worse than what happened during the time of Nirvana.
度过这场浩劫，这是人类最后的希望。
At the same time, Commander Li can be seen at the frontline base, where he is helping to bring in supplies and planning an inheritance project to create new protection. He can also feel the tension as the ultimate weapon attack moves forward, which he is also seeing. Now, there were only 30 seconds left until Leader Hong's prehistoric jet crashed into the golden behemoth monster flying through the air. The countdown continues. The distance between them was getting closer and closer. This makes the situation even more stressful. Some of the country's leaders can only pray for success now. It's the last thing they can do. Meanwhile, the warriors can't take their eyes off the virtual screens because these will be the most important moments of their lives from now on.
23秒，22秒。
杀死他！
And unexpectedly when the two will collide. Suddenly, the golden behemoth monster moves up a little and uses its lower mouth or stomach, which is the weakest part of its body, to block the attack of fighter jets carrying hydrogen bombs. While this will actually increase the chances of success for the ultimate hydrogen bomb attack.
他竟然用防御最弱的肚皮去解除。
9、6、2、1。
And when they collide, atomic molecules also stick together, so boom. There was an explosion so bright that it blocked everyone's view of the virtual screen. This super bombastic explosion destroyed skyscrapers and swept away monsters that were quite far from where the hydrogen bomb exploded. Even the monsters that could fly couldn't get away from the effects of the explosion. Even the shock waves made by the hydrogen can be felt on Earth all the way out in space. This one bomb is way out of beyond reason. Switches to the base city closest to the last bombardment. The civilians, who still didn't know what the golden behemoth looked like, also saw the huge explosion from a distance. At first, they thought that the flash of light they saw was the sun coming out at night. Due to the effects of the explosion of the hydrogen bomb, it contains electromagnetic pulse weapon or EMP, and before long, everyone's cell phone signal networks disappeared, followed by electronic devices that also died suddenly. Until finally all the electricity in the city went out. This is when they realized if the glint of round light they saw was caused by a nuclear bomb explosion. And so as not to be exposed to the effects of radiation, all residents began to leave in droves to evacuate themselves to underground shelters. This huge explosion could be seen clearly from the elite training base in the Jiangnan base city, as well as from Luo Feng's home, where he lived with his family, who knew exactly what was happening at the point of the explosion. Of course, it took a lot of work for warriors to defeat the monster that led to the end of mankind. Now, the fighters are waiting to see if the plan they came up with worked. The puffs of smoke are still making it hard to see the area where the nuclear bomb went off. The cloud of smoke was big and stayed in the air for a long time. But not long ago, a flash of golden light was seen coming from the puff of smoke. This was a bad sign for humanity. Because of this, the monster golden behemoth was still alive, even though he had a painful wound on the torn part of his stomach. This creature had really gone truly transcended absurdity. The president of the country and the warriors who found out about this were also very shocked. Even with the last hope they had, they still couldn't beat the golden behemoth monster. Only Isidona, the president of the HR Alliance, was relieved. For him, at least, a hydrogen bomb could kill the monster. But it was at that time that Inspector Wang Yu's prayer beads fell out, which was a bad sign. And, of course, the golden behemoth monster can heal its broken parts in a few seconds. As a result, he got better, and all the warriors' efforts were for nothing. This also drains the president's will to fight, making them give up the fight. The President of the United States was so shocked that he coughed up blood and passed out. In another way, Sokolov, who had been very sure of his plan before, fell into helplessness.
人类完了，不应该的。可恶！这怎么可能？
No, a hydrogen bomb would definitely be enough to defeat the golden behemoth monster. Luo Feng, who was still at the bottom of the sea, answered. For Babata, the golden behemoth, the last monster alive, the end of people was a foregone conclusion. This creature made storms and volcanoes erupt when it let out a loud roar and fired lasers into the sky. But that's not all. The roar also tells all monsters, whether they live on land or in the water, to come together in one place. All of the occupied territories of humanity were attacked by running inflation. Everyone looked at Leader Hong, who was in charge of the warlords. He tried to calm down, and then he said that this time the plan had failed horribly.
计划失败了。
Luo Feng heard that from Leader Hong and didn't want to give up until now. He ran away right away with the plan of going right into the ruins of an ancient civilization. At the same time, Babata told them that this mothership in front of Luo Feng was the whole interstellar fleet. And that airship was in existence that had very strong defenses. But even so, this ship isn't the real ancient ruin of number 12. Because the wreckage is deep inside the mothership. It was said that place was very dangerous and could easily kill Luo Feng, a Star Traveler level warrior. But Luo Feng wouldn't care even if the risk was very high and could put his own life in danger. Because everything he did this time was to keep people safe from a figure who threatens all human life. After the location of ancient ruins number 12 was found. And then Luo Feng departed. And that's the end of this very tense episode. What makes me most curious is how to kill this monster whose strength is too strong. Instead of being curious, of course we are waiting for episode 77 next week. Thank you so much for watching my video until the end, guys. If you like this video, please like and subscribe so this channel can grow. See you next my video, bye.